and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is the 5FM Radio Main News. The headlines. EU Zambia signs 200 million euros agreements to boost Lobito corridor development. Government assures public as fuel shortages hits parts of the country. Brothers charged with South African rapper's murder after extradition. This bulletin is live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia, and live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. With the details, my name is Lance Sannie. The European Union, EU, and Zambia have signed 10 new funding agreements with 200 million euros aimed at advancing a holistic approach to the development of the Lobito corridor. President Hakainde Hichilema witnessed the ceremonial signing of the agreements under the EU's Global Gateway Initiative during the EU-Zambia Lobito Corridor Business Forum held in Chongwe. Among the key sectors covered in the EU's contribution of 1.3 billion kwacha towards the 5 billion kwacha railway sector revitalization program. The support is expected to enhance the operational efficiency of Zambia Railways Limited, strengthen the regulatory framework, and promote rail freight competitiveness and safety. Speaking at the ceremony, President Hichilema urged the EU to deepen its engagement with Zambia and Africa, noting that Europe and Africa share one of the longest and most significant relationships in human history.
But I'm the first one to say that we can do more, and I'll be commenting about this. So truly, this is a great day and a number of days to follow from here. I must also indicate what my colleague, the EU Commissioner, as the conversations were going on or presentations were going on, that the EU must do more with Zambia. The EU must do more with Africa. And I mean that. Africa and the EU have one of the longest interactions in human history.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has announced that Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, will undertake a state visit to the Republic of Zimbabwe on 14th November 2025 at the invitation of His Excellency Zimbabwe. During the visit, President Hichilema and President Mnangagwa will co-chair the inaugural session of the Zambia, which upgrades the existing Joint Permanent Commission of Cooperation (JPCC) to engagement. The establishment of the BNC underscores the shared vision of the two heads of state. Bilateral cooperation, accelerate joint infrastructure projects, and deepen economic integration between the two nations. The BNC process will be preceded by a meeting of senior officials on 12th November 2025 and a ministerial meeting on 13th November 2025, which will lay the groundwork for the agreements to be considered during the inaugural BNC. This visit also highlights the deep and enduring bonds of friendship, shared history, and mutual respect that unite Zambia and Zimbabwe. The Ministry of Community Development and Social Services has today launched 3 strategic digital guidelines aimed at enhancing service delivery through innovation and inclusion. The documents, namely the Ministerial Digital Strategy, the Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery Guidelines, and the ICT Security Guidelines, recognize the importance of effective service delivery in the context of ongoing digital transformation. Speaking during the launch, Minister of Community Development and Social Services Doreen Mwamba emphasized the importance of vigilance and proactive measures in the digital era. Ms. Mwamba highlighted that the 3 documents align with the 2023 National ICT Policy, the Electronic Government Act No. 41 of 2021, and the National E-Government plan, all of which support the government's broader aspiration to transform Zambia into a digital economy.
An inclusive, transparent, and efficient social protection system that leaves no one and no one behind. One, the ministerial digital strategy. The digital strategy provides a clear roadmap of leveraging information, communication technologies to enhance the delivery of social protection services. National coordinator under the flagship program, social cash transfer, we are now sitting above 85%.
Meanwhile, Smart Zambia National Coordinator Mr. Pesi Chinyama commended the ministry's vital role in addressing the needs of the poor and vulnerable.
To this crowd that I'm talking to, doesn't really affect you because you're not in those categories. But those are real issues that are happening and they have to be dealt with by the government. And the vehicle that we use is this one. So for me, Honorable Minister, whatever we do in this ministry, whatever value we add into this ministry, to me, it is adding 70% of what we are meant to do, both as human, from the humanitarian point of view, but most importantly as Christians. I think today I'm wearing the elder's hat. So the documents that have been mentioned, maybe to this crowd that I'm talking to, doesn't really affect you because you're not in those categories. But those are real issues that are happening.
Absa Bank has launched a tree planting school competition that will target over 1,000 schools. Speaking at the official launch, Minister of Education Douglas Yagalima stated that Absa Bank Zambia has consistently demonstrated its commitment to environmental stewardship through the Plant and Grow a Million Trees campaign. Mr. Siagalima emphasized that partnering with Zafico and the Forestry Department, APSA is setting a high standard for corporate citizenship while inspiring young people to care for the planet. He added that introducing students to climate conservation at a young age is crucial as schools provide the perfect environment to teach the principles of sustainability, hands-on conservation, and environmental responsibility. This campaign is ambitious with expectations that over 1,000 schools will participate, planting a minimum of 100 trees each. Prizes worth over 600,000 kwacha and sports equipment await schools that demonstrate diligence and creativity in nurturing their trees. Zambia has recorded a 16% increase in malaria cases in the first half of 2025 compared to the same period last year. Speaking in Lusaka during the commemoration of SADC Malaria Week, Health Minister Elijah Muchima disclosed that the number of reported cases rose from 205 to 237, but noted a positive trend as malaria-related deaths declined, with the mortality rate dropping from 4% to 3%. Mr. Mchima highlighted the country's notable progress in 2024, when malaria cases fell from 11.5 million in 2023 to 9.5 million, translating to a reduction from 403 to 305 cases per 1,000 population and a 40% decrease in deaths. The minister attributed these improvements to intensified interventions targeting high-risk areas and reaffirmed the government's commitment to malaria prevention and control.
Biggest challenge in Zambia. Building resilient health system means enhancing the capacity of health facilities, improving supply chains for malaria prevention and treatment tools, training healthcare workers, and ensuring consistent availability of quality services even during peak transmission systems or other health emergencies. At the same time, engaging and educating communities is vital to promote the use of insecticide-treated nets, early diagnosis, and prompt treatment.
Meanwhile, Central and Southern Africa Health Community XIC Director General of the East, Dr. Ntuli Kapologwe, paid a courtesy call on Mr. Mchime during the meeting. Mr. Kapologwe announced that Zambia will host the upcoming Regional Health Summit next week, where 3 new health projects aimed at strengthening the country's health system will be launched. The Growth Investment Partners GIP Zambia, officially launched by Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema on 15 July 2025, has announced its first major investment in Boxpark Zambia Limited, marking a significant step in its mission to unlock access to finance for the Zambian small and medium-sized enterprises. The inaugural investment is a $5 million United States dollar 7-year royalty funding, which will enable Boxpark, one manufacturer of corrugated carton boxes and paper-based packaging materials, to acquire a new production line and triple its monthly output 1,800 tons. This expansion will help meet Zambia's growing packaging needs while reducing reliance on imported materials. Sondachpalo said, founded in 2009, Boxpark Zambia has built a strong reputation as a reliable supplier goods companies in Zambia. Mr. Chipalo says, operating out of its Lusaka facility, the company plays a vital role in supporting supply chains in agriculture, food processing, and retail stores. Zambia's packaging industry is undergoing rapid transformation, with demand for carton box packaging growing annually. He said the growth is driven by urbanization, population growth, the expansion of e-commerce, and new sustainability regulations favoring recyclable paper-based materials over plastic. However, local production capacity remains insufficient to meet the rising demand, forcing many businesses to rely on costly imports. And in other news trending this evening, a consortium of non-government organizations on the Copper Belt has warned that anyone inciting citizens to protest against the ongoing constitution-making process on Friday should be arrested. The Community Action Against Corruption has called on Zambians to take advantage of the extended voter registration period to help fight corruption by registering as voters. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
The Ministry of Energy has acknowledged reports of fuel shortages experienced across the country over the past few days. Following these reports, the ministry has put in place short and long-term measures to address the problems and prevent their recurrence. In a statement, Minister of Energy Makozo Chikote has announced that as of yesterday, Tuesday, 11th November 2025, the country had 57,385,360 liters of diesel and 40,082,000 liters of petrol. Mr. Chikote added that the temporary supply disruptions were purely logistical and not a result of depleted reserves. The ministry expects the situation to stabilize soon as normal fuel supply resumes across the country. The government apologizes to the public for the inconvenience caused and assures the nation of its continued commitment to maintaining a stable and reliable supply of petroleum products throughout Zambia.
I wish to update the fuel supply situation in the country. The Ministry of Energy acknowledges reports of fuel shortages experienced across the country over the past few days. Following these reports, the ministry has put in place short and long-term measures to address the problems and prevent their recurrence.
Ends our business news, and in news from across the border, two brothers have been charged with the murder of South African rapper Kenan Forbes, popularly known as AKA, following their extradition from neighboring Eswatini. Siyabonga and Malusi Ndiaminde were brought back to the country after the failure of a lengthy legal attempt to block their return. Forbes, an award was killed outside a restaurant in the coastal city of Durban in 2023, along with his close friend, celebrity chef Tabelo Tibbs Motsane. South Africa has one of the highest murder rates in the world, but this shooting shocked the country. And in sports news, Zambia under-17 national team coach Dennis Makinka has emphasized mental readiness as a decisive factor, reminding his players that every stage of the tournament now demands precision and maturity. Zambia has with Mali in what promises to be a thrilling round of 32 encounter at the ongoing FIFA Under-17 World Cup Qatar 2025. The match will see two of Africa's finest youth sides face off for a place in the round of 16, setting up an all-African showdown at the Aspire Zone in Doha. Zambia qualified as Group H runners-up, finishing the group stage unbeaten with 7 points from 3 matches, victories over Indonesia of 3-1 and Honduras of 3-5, followed by a spirited 1-0 draw with Brazil. Mali, meanwhile, finished second in Group IL, where they showed both power and resilience. The West Africans recorded wins over New Zealand of 3-0 and Saudi Arabia of 2-0, but suffered a 3-0 loss to Austria in their second match. And now, the weather.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Northern, Eastern, Copperbelt, Central, and Western provinces, including the southern parts of Luapula, Muchinga, and the eastern parts of Northwestern provinces, mainly cloudy, slightly windy, and mild with isolated rain and occasional thunder. Lusaka and southern provinces, including the northern parts of Luapula, Muchinga, and the western parts of Northwestern provinces, mainly cloudy, slightly windy, and mild with a chance of isolated rain. Ends our weather report, and that item brings us to the end of the news. But before we go, a recap of the stories that made headlines. The European Union and Zambia have signed 10 new funding agreements worth 200 million euros aimed at advancing a holistic approach to the development of the Lobito corridor. The Ministry of Energy has acknowledged reports of fuel shortages experienced across the country over the past few days. And finally, two brothers have been charged with the murder of South African rapper Kenan Forbes, popularly known as AKA, following their extradition from neighboring Eswatini. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the Happy Hour of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. My name is Lance Sannie Banda. Enjoy the rest of the evening.